Top entourage in tow, Cassandra and Louise stood up and sauntered over. Cassandra disliked Bara, but she hated Patsy. And because Cassandra hated Patsy, Louise detested her. The spirits of the forest, Cassandra taunted. Is that why you smell like a toad? The entourage tittered. Even Bara had to admit, Cassandra had a point. It wasn't that Patsy smelled bad exactly, just strange, like flowers left too long in a vase. You know the difference between toads and spoiled princesses? Patsy returned. The warts are hidden on the inside. Her eyes widened and she added mockingly, but then I can see a wart now. It's on your snout. Oh no, don't worry, it's just a hideous zit. Cassandra's hand flew to her nose. There was a blemish. A small one, but she reacted as though it were a volcano ready to blow. She was sorely outmatched, and so Louise took over, giving Patsy, and Bara just because, a look that would have withered an oak tree. Let's go, Cass, Louise said. Yeah, Lulu, Cassandra agreed, her voice muffled behind her hand. The smell's getting to me. Louise took Cassandra's free hand. Cassandra's other hand still hid the pimple. The terrible twins and the Pops returned to their table. Cass Banks and Lulu Bellevue. Love it! Patsy taunted as they left, but I'm surprised you can smell anything with that on your nose. The Pops glared, promising revenge. Bara and Amy tried to ignore the threatening stares and returned to eating. What a storm, hey? Patsy marveled. Do you think we'll lose power? Anxious to get back to the diary, Bara shook her head and shoveled another forkful into her mouth. I think the school has a backup generator, Amy reassured. That's right, Patsy said with a mouthful of spinach. Amy looked away. You know why they had to do that, don't ya? Bara continued to eat. Amy shook her head. There was a girl who died. Patsy paused for another mouthful of food. It was years ago, during a blackout. Amy and Bara didn't respond. They were kind of hoping Patsy might drop the subject. She was always telling shocking stories at the worst times. They were trying to eat and didn't fill up to a tale of blood and gore, death and mayhem. But Patsy had no sense of what was appropriate or the ability to read her audience. Yeah, she continued on. The girl fell down the stairs. They found her in the morning with her neck broke. Patsy let her head loll to the side and her spinach-specked tongue hang out. Bara and Amy fought not to react. Patsy shrugged. She straightened up and pushed her finished meal aside. She reached for the pie. Amy bit. Patsy, that's not true. Sure it is. My dad told me. Patsy's dad was Windfall Sheriff. The Pillingers weren't wealthy. Her enrollment at St. Cat was a work benefit. The girl was in her nightgown. No one knows where she was going. Her roommate said she'd gotten out of bed and opened the window. Then she left. The roommate thought she was going to the can or something. Patsy paused to gauge reaction. She wasn't getting the response she wanted, so she added, Spooky, hey? Bara and Amy exchanged a knowing look. They both concluded there was only one option open to them. I think I'll have nightmares, Bara offered. It gives me shivers up my spine, Amy agreed. Finally satisfied, Patsy smiled and began to eat her dessert with gusto. It was a tragic choice. Just as she'd been about to heap a rather large forkful into her mouth, Louise and Cassandra, entourage in tow, passed the table. Louise made a great show of tripping. Oops, she said loud enough for the entire hall to hear. She fell into Patsy, sending Patsy careening into her dessert. Patsy lifted her head. She had meringue on her face, clothes, and hair. There were the clicks of a dozen or so camera phones taking focus and shooting. Her humiliation would be online in short order. So sorry, Patsy, Louise drawled. Everyone but Amy and Bara laughed. The Pops, led by the terrible twins, exited the room, leaving Patsy to clean up the mess. Patsy wiped at her face with her sleeve. Amy handed her a napkin. She and Bara were embarrassed for her, but Patsy seemed only subdued. I'm gonna get those two, she hissed. Here, have one of these and don't worry about the Pops. They're total jerks. Bara pushed a slice of pie in her direction. Bara and Amy, still uncomfortable, rushed through the remainder of their food. They shared a dessert, and then left Patsy still eating and, no doubt, planning revenge.